Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, former gubernatorial candidate Elliott Cutler made another court appearance for violating his bail 4 times in recent months.
Plus, a debate between Democrat Troy Jackson and Republican Bobby Charles took place last night. Both are vying to become Maine's next governor.
And Husson University hosted a blood drive on campus in collaboration with the Red Cross. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll have those stories and a lot more coming up. We'll also meet our pet of the week.
Yes.
We don't know if it'll be a little kitty or doggy, maybe an alpaca. Who knows?
That would be kind of cool. I think it's going to be a cat.
Yeah,
That's
one of these days
prediction.
they'll surprise us and show up with like a zebra or something like that. Who knows?
That would be awesome.
Right. That'll come up a little bit later on, but first to check the forecast, looking like a quiet day today, just a partly cloudy day.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Stephen Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment. 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. A small craft advisory is posted until 7 p.m. this evening along the coast, as we will be watching for active surf throughout the region today, courtesy of some gusty winds. In the meantime, a little bit of snow developing this morning in some areas that will be tapering off as we do become partly cloudy today. As we do zoom things out, there's that little bit of energy right there, a bigger system to the south that will be leaving us alone, and we will be on the dry side for us today. Here's Futurecast. Again, this will all be getting out of here, and again, we're looking nice today, and even later on tonight, not looking too bad either. The clouds really getting out of here, and even for tomorrow, again, not looking too bad, just some clouds, and that's about it. Some gusty winds today reaching up to about 20 miles per hour. The winds backing off a bit overnight, and even for tomorrow, not looking too bad. The hourly forecast moving forward. Here we go. A partly cloudy sky, temperature is in the 30s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Former gubernatorial candidate Elliott Cutler could spend years in prison. He was back in court on Wednesday, accused of violating his bail 4 times in recent months. He's now facing motions to have his bail revoked. There were 3 total motions to revoke bail, all of which were filed in February, as well as a motion to revoke Cutler's probation. Cutler's attorney entered denials across the board for all of the motions. Those motions stem from allegations that Cutler has violated his probation on multiple occasions, most recently when Maine State Police say they encountered him at a South Portland hotel and allegedly found him in possession of pornography. A district attorney requested that Cutler be imprisoned for another 39 months for violating his probation. A judge is expected to rule on that when he returns to court on April 8th. In the meantime, Cutler is being held without bail and expected to be transported up to the Hancock County Jail.
Closing arguments are expected today in Gary Brinson's murder trial. He's accused of killing his friend following a night of heavy drinking in December of 2024. During Wednesday's testimony, the jury heard from police who responded to the crime scene at a Union Street apartment in Bangor. According to the Bangor Daily News, they also heard police interviews with Brinson, who said he can't remember the fight with 64-year-old Lee Riona. He said he had slapped his friend earlier in the day after Riona stole something from him, but he doesn't remember anything about stabbing him. Both sides wrapped up their case Wednesday, and the closing arguments are expected to be presented this morning.
An Augusta man named a suspect in a 2024 death investigation made a court appearance in Knox County Superior Court yesterday in preparation for his trial that is set for next week. Jason Hewitt is charged with manslaughter in the death of 45-year-old Kyle McDougal of Waterboro in July of 2024 in Cushing. Hewitt's pretrial and pre-jury motions were heard. Jury selection will begin on Monday morning and witnesses will be called later next week.
President Trump's lengthy State of the Union address this week focused largely on the economy, but also recognized members of the military for their heroic acts. However, the intense polarization we're seeing across the country was also on full display at the speech, but also it was evident as some members of Congress chose not to attend. That includes most of Maine's congressional delegation. Senator Susan Collins was the lone lawmaker to attend from Maine. We spoke with her about why she chose to do so.
I've always recognized it as a time when we can hear from the president of our country and understand what his priorities are, join in recognizing some outstanding Americans as we did last night. And I think that's important no matter what.
Meanwhile, two gubernatorial candidates engaged in a spirited debate last night. Our Callie Warren takes us to the debate between Democrat Troy Jackson and Republican Bobby Charles.
So, the first question.
Two gubernatorial frontrunners took each other on in a Wednesday night debate. Republican Bobby Charles.
I will cut taxes in this state, property taxes and income taxes. I will get the drug traffickers out of this state within 24 months. I will bring good addiction services into this state, and I will put our schools back on track.
And Democrat Troy Jackson.
We need to have quality, affordable nursing home care for elderly people. We need to have quality, affordable health care for children. I mean, this is something that's a priority, and I believe property tax reform and housing are things that, you know, are a really big deal for me.
The Blaine House hopefuls debated several controversial topics, including law enforcement, immigration, addiction, and affordability. While the disagreement between the two was often palpable.
So let me say, Troy is living down to all the expectations I had for him. This is literally just a mudsling. Ditto, yeah, this is a mudsling.
The candidates' closing arguments reflected a hope for overall political unity as primary polls draw closer.
We do have a great state. Yes, we have problems, but we can overcome these problems. We can, but we can't whenever we're divided like I think Bobby is doing right now. There's just no way. We have to come together.
But we're all Mainers, okay, at the end of the day. And I've spent a lot of time in the northern part of the state, and he's spent a lot of time in the southern part of the state, a lot of time in Augusta. My guess is we could probably agree on some things if we sat down and tried to do it, and that is what a governor needs to do.
The full debate was live streamed on Jackson's campaign YouTube channel. We'll have a link on our website, foxbangor.com. Callie Warren reporting for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Former Speaker of the House, Maine House, and Democratic candidate for governor, Hannah Pingree, has announced she has gathered enough signatures for Maine's gubernatorial race. Pingree was joined by supporters, volunteers, and local leaders at the Capitol yesterday as she delivered the required 2,000 signatures to the Secretary of State's office. She has been on the campaign trail for the last 8 months and collected over 3,000 signatures from registered voters from towns all across the state. Pingree recently rolled out a comprehensive health care plan that aims to make care more affordable, accessible, and accountable for Maine families.
I think the next governor needs to go big on issues like health care affordability and housing. We're a state in which young people want to stay in the state of Maine, but they can't afford to buy a house. They're looking for better paying jobs, and the next governor needs to know how to deliver.
Dr. Nirav Shah was the first Democratic candidate for governor to announce reaching that milestone, and Republican candidate Robert Wessels also announced he submitted the required 2,000 signatures earlier this month. The deadline to turn in Democratic and Republican ballot petitions is March 16th.
Two organizations held a vigil in remembrance of a man who died while protesting U.S. support for the Gaza war. Activists hope to spread awareness to the community. Yesterday, the Maine chapter of Veterans for Peace and the Peace and Justice Center of Eastern Maine held a vigil on State Street in Bangor in remembrance of Aaron Bushnell. The day marked the second anniversary of his death. Bushnell set himself on fire in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. in protest of U.S. support for Israel in the Gaza war. Activists say while they don't advocate for self-immolation, they want to recognize his loss.
The United States government has led us into a lot of wars, all right? And people that just take whatever the government is saying at face value and don't step back and go, why are we actually doing this? Who does this benefit? It takes a community, it takes this type of pressure to make an impact.
Toothaker says the community appreciates activism, knowing that they are not alone in their concerns. He says it's important to raise awareness in an election year because it's a great time for citizens to make a difference. The time now is 8:10. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a library in Unity has much more than just books. We'll check out the Library of Things coming up.
But first, another check of your forecast. A quiet day today, partly cloudy and breezy with highs near 34 degrees. It will be mostly clear tonight with lows dropping down to the single digits. Partly cloudy tomorrow with highs right around freezing. We'll be right back.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover-Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance. Browse our inventory online or in person. Whether it's a car, truck, or SUV, we can put you in the vehicle that is right for you. Sales, service, and parts. Rowell's Garage. Doing business the right way every day.
Welcome to basketball country.
Fox Primetime Hoops.
We got one for you tonight.
Saturday night is game night. Different energy.
Listen to this crowd.
Different stakes. Different gravity. Feel the weight of every possession.
Oh my!
This is where teams learn what they're made of.
Is electrifying.
And players find out if they're built for the moment. Villanova St. John's, Saturday at 8 Eastern on Fox.
Advocates are urging Maine lawmakers to support a bill that aims to safeguard access to reproductive and related care in Maine. But these efforts to increase funding for organizations like Planned Parenthood are drawing scrutiny from Republicans. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
Reproductive health advocates are pushing for a bill that would secure $5 million in yearly state funding to support family planning services.
This bill is our opportunity and indeed our obligation to continue to defend and protect access to critical health care.
The Health and Human Services Committee heard public testimony on LD 335, which aims to sustain Maine's reproductive health services, protect patient access, and combat federal funding threats.
If we lose these healthcare providers, we lose preventative care that keeps Mainers healthy.
Maine Family Planning was recently forced to close primary care practices in Ellsworth, Presque Isle, and Holton due to cuts in Medicaid funding on the federal level. The bill's sponsor, Representative Amy Kuhn, says the funds she is seeking will not pay for abortions, but will ensure other services like cancer screenings and wellness exams are protected.
If health centers close, many of our most vulnerable constituents will have nowhere else to go, in part because these providers do not turn anyone away, regardless of insurance or ability to pay.
Some Republicans argued the funding should be used to address other critical needs.
That $5 million could really be used for other services that we desperately need in Maine. We need it to fund our veterans' homes. We need to fund our nursing homes.
However, advocates emphasize the funding is also vital for increasing staffing levels to address the HIV outbreak in Penobscot County, as Maine Family Planning has conducted over 400 HIV tests in Bangor alone.
We are a very small team attempting to address a massive public health crisis. As providers, we need more support and more resources to ensure the health of our state.
In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A report on Maine's waste generation was a focus at the State House yesterday, with representatives saying a change needs to be made soon. On Wednesday, the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources discussed a report on Maine's waste generation and disposal capacity for the years 2023 and 24. The report found that the state is producing more waste than there's room for, and the state needs to consider other options for disposal.
We are relying on 2 landfills to handle 2/3 of Maine's waste. So I want that to really sink in, because we're relying on 2 facilities to handle all the waste for the state. And I think the key thing we need to think about is maybe we need to diversify, maybe we need to build in some more redundancies, because if any of these entities shut down, then what?
Miller says she wants the committee to consider shortening the waste license process and investing in new technology and infrastructure when discussing alternative waste disposal options for Maine. The committee voted unanimously to move the proposal forward as a bill, which will be reviewed next week.
Students at Hassan University did their part to add to the blood donation stock for the Red Cross with the Spring Blood Drive. Hassan radio station WHSN sponsors 2 drives a year, one in the fall semester and then one during the spring. Plenty of students showed up to donate. WHSN's manager says these drives are a great way to get the students thinking about giving back to the community and making them lifelong donors.
If we can get them to donate as a freshman, they come back their second semester of their freshman year, they come back in their sophomore year, their junior year, and they start recruiting friends. And we hope that this continues so that they start going to their local blood donor center. If they go home for the summer, if they're not from the Bangor area, find where your Red Cross is and donate there.
Nason says they know they're making a difference in the community, and to date they've collected over 900 units of blood.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It is.
Did you do that when you went to Hassan?
I did a few times, yeah. They always do a great job, and it's normally a really big turnout.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt really either. You just,
No,
yeah.
it's not too bad. The time now is 8:16. After the break, Cuba's government announcing on state TV that its soldiers fired on a U.S. speedboat. We'll have more coming up.
Plus, the historic blizzard has left neighborhoods without power with no signs of plowing. We'll have the latest on the recovery coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Bring your new kitchen to life with help from the Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring Division by Hammond Lumber Company. Bring in your ideas or get inspired by Hammond's extensive showroom displays. Your Hammond sales rep will help you create a materials list and cost estimate, and Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And Hammond delivers from 34 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Your new kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in pet orthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Whether you can pinpoint the problem or can't quite put your finger on it, the friendly professionals from Coastal Auto Parts can help point you in the right direction. With Maine's largest network of parts, you can trust your vehicle will have what it needs to get you to the moments that matter most. Because Napa knows the keys to a winning team. With 30 locations in Maine, Coastal Auto Parts helps keep our communities running with quality parts and helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
At Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Darling's Kia, you can't miss in 2026. Drive a brand new all-wheel drive Sportage for only $299 a month, or buy a new Kia SUV for under $20,000. Plus, every new Kia comes with our 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business. You can't miss this and more at Darling's Kia. The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. You'll do better at Darling's.
After the historic blizzard that dropped 40 inches of snow in parts of New England, some streets are still not plowed, some homes are still without power, and emergency rescues are anything but simple.
Here's ABC's Hannah Battah with the latest.
This morning, some people in the Northeast are heading back to work and school for the first time since that record-breaking blizzard that dumped more than 3 feet of snow. In New Jersey, the roof of this ice skating rink partially collapsing. In Massachusetts, fire crews battling the elements after this home explosion.
Fire hydrants were an issue, so another reminder to people to clean their fire hydrants. We had our police officers digging out the fire hydrant when they got here.
The mother and her 2-year-old daughter were seriously injured. Authorities say it may have been a gas explosion. In Philadelphia, video shows a man getting hit by a wall of snow from a passing plow while he was shoveling.
It kind of jarred me, threw me into the car that was kind of next to me, which is right behind us. If that wasn't there, I probably would have fell down.
He believes it may not have been accidental, but decided not to file a police report. Several people have died as a result of the storm, including at least 5 on Long Island, New York, all linked to heart issues while shoveling. A shoveling-related death is also reported in Rhode Island. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
Look at all that snow.
I know, we dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Now let's get a full look at our weather forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Already, that small craft advisory is posted until 7 p.m. this evening along the coast as we're watching for some active surf along the coast, and that surf is starting to pick up, just 3 to 4 foot wave heights. There it is right there, and farther off towards the north and east, you can see by the contours it is picking up, and farther out towards sea, 6, 7, even up to 9 feet being observed right now in those areas. Meanwhile, on land, just a little bit of snow being observed this morning, tracking from the southwest and going toward the north and east. This will be getting out of here, and we'll have a mixture of clouds and sunshine in our backyard as we do move forward. Today, as we do zoom things out, there's that little bit of energy right there. Bigger system to the south. This will be leaving us alone, and we will be looking nice as we do move forward over the next few days, counting today. But then as we do move forward in time, especially as we head towards Saturday afternoon, a mixture of rain and snow on the way. Accumulations very minimal, if anything at best, but just something to note as we do move forward. Isobars, will be stacked as well, so you may notice that as we do move forward. So otherwise for today, again, not looking too bad. We'll be in the middle 30s under a partly cloudy sky. It will be breezy as well, with that west wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Overnight, okay, 3 degrees under a mostly clear sky. The winds will be backing off. They will be out of the northwest at about 5 miles per hour. And then we move ahead towards your Friday. Not too bad. Lower 30s under a partly cloudy sky. The winds not too bad either. They will be out of the southwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out that extended forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Rain and snow chances for your Saturday with highs in the low 40s and then upper 20s for your Sunday with a chance for snow showers. Mostly sunny for your Monday with highs in the low 20s.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
From pop music legend Cyndi Lauper and Broadway's Harvey Fierstein, Kinky Boots, the Tony and Grammy-winning feel-good best musical about seizing your destiny and being who you want to be. Be inspired by the Broadway show that has captured hearts around the world. Kinky Boots, March 3rd, Cross Insurance Center. On sale at Ticketmaster.com.
Fires, floods, burst pipes.
Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
congratulations! You have built the perfect line! I'm Deborah Norville, and this is the perfect line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. Oh, this is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Now to the latest on the deadly gun battle involving a U.S.-registered boat and a Cuban troops off the coast of Cuba. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with more.
Overnight, Cuba's government announcing on state TV that its soldiers opened fire on a U.S. speedboat it claims violated its territorial waters. 4 people died in the shooting, 6 others were injured. Cuban officials say the passengers were Cuban residents of the United States and claim the men were armed and trying to, quote, carry out an infiltration for terrorist purposes. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says U.S. authorities are now investigating.
The majority of the facts being publicly reported are those by the information provided by the Cubans. We will verify that independently, and as we gather more information, then we'll be prepared to respond accordingly.
Cuban officials say the U.S. boat came within 1 nautical mile of the El Pino Channel. As a Cuban border guard boat approached, the U.S. boat reportedly opened fire, wounding the Cuban commander. Cuban troops then returned fire.
First of all, we can't trust anything that the Cubans say. If the Cubans say that the U.S. boat fired first on the Cuban boat, hard to believe that, but we need to wait and see how close they were actually, and that will determine how big a deal this actually becomes.
The New York Times reporting the speedboat was trying to get relatives out of Cuba. The shooting comes as Cuba deals with a full-blown energy crisis amid a U.S. blockade of oil shipments. U.S.-Cuba relations have been on a knife's edge following the U.S. ouster of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, Cuba's main energy ally. And U.S. law enforcement confirms the American boat was stolen from the Florida Keys and is registered to a Miami man born in Cuba. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Video released today shows Kharkiv rescuers extinguishing fires and searching through rubble at a site of destruction after what Ukrainian officials say were Russian missile and drone attacks. At least 14 people were injured in the Kharkiv region, including a 7-year-old boy. The governor said on Telegram that the city itself has been attacked by 2 missiles and 17 drones. Ukraine officials reported that Russian missile and drone attacks on Wednesday night damaged residential buildings and injured around 20 people in the eastern and southern regions. Ballistic and cruise missiles were also directed at Kyiv in the east region of the country.
New calls for a Texas congressman to resign over accusations he had an affair with a member of his staff. Now that staffer's husband is speaking out. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
This morning, a growing number of Republicans calling for Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez to step down amid allegations he had an affair with his staffer.
I think he should do the right thing and resign.
Gonzalez, who will face voters in next week's primary, denies any allegations of an affair. But Florida Republican Anna Paulina Luna is urging him to drop out. She's considering forcing a House vote to formally censure him. Gonzalez faces an avalanche of criticism after his congressional aide, 35-year-old Regina Santos Aviles, died by suicide in September. Her widower provided ABC News with text messages appearing to show Gonzalez pursuing a relationship with her more than a year before her death. In a series of texts from May 2024, Gonzalez, a married father of 6, asks Santos Aviles for photos, requesting a, quote, sexy pic. She's hesitant at first, but Gonzalez continues to ask her about her sexual preferences, to which she replies, "This is going too far, boss." Her widower spoke with CNN last night.
This is real. This is the person that he is. He lied to everybody about it. And, I put it out there for everybody to see.
Gonzalez had this to say when pressed about the accuracy of the text messages.
I'm not going to resign. I work every day for the people of Texas.
House Speaker Mike Johnson calls the allegations alarming, but says the matter will play out in next week's primary when voters get to decide.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll hear from the Bangor Humane Society and meet our pet of the week.
We'll look forward to that and more ahead on Good Morning Maine.
What happens when our kids grow up talking to AI instead of real people? When their teacher is a chatbot, their counselor an algorithm? AI is being designed to replace us, but it doesn't share our values, and the companies building it don't know how to make it safe. Learn more at protectwhat'shuman.org.
At the County Federal Credit Union, we value the trust our members place in us to act in their best interest. Whether it's providing low rates on consumer loans or raising money to end hunger, we work hard to serve our members and the communities in which they live. We are excited to bring the meaningful and impactful work we do to all Mainers as we continue to grow. Wherever you are in life's journey, count on the county to be your financial partner.
From clinics to classrooms, even in therapy and romance, AI is being designed to replace us. But the most important intelligence is human. It's the values we pass down and the connections we make with one another. That should never be replaced. Learn more at protectwhat'shuman.org.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Thursday, February 26th, 2026, and this is also Levi Strauss Day.
This is a day dedicated to the founder of a jeans brand that we all love. It was on this date in 1829 that Levi Strauss was born in the Kingdom of Bavaria. When he was 18, he moved to the U.S. with his family and opened a dry goods company in San Francisco that eventually sold blue jeans that were made tough with copper rivets. The company now sells more than 1.25 billion pairs of jeans each year in countries all around the world.
That's a lot of blue jeans out there.
It is a lot of jeans, yeah. Isn't there an outlet here somewhere?
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like there is, but I mean, that brand is just, everyone buys those.
Yeah, they've all gotten expensive too, I know that.
Yeah,
too,
they have.
So, but they last forever.
They really do.
So, all right, time for some more history. It was on this date back in 1919. President Woodrow Wilson signed an act making the Grand Canyon a national park. In 1930, New York City installed its very first traffic lights. 1952 on this date, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill announced that his nation had also developed its first atomic bomb. And in 1974, Nike received a patent for its waffle-soled sneakers. University of Oregon track coach Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight, one of his runners, well, they weren't satisfied with available running footwear at the time, so they decided to create their own. Bowerman decided to use an actual waffle iron to create a shoe that would grip artificial tracks without spikes.
Big
Genius.
invention, it is, yes.
Yeah.
And in 1983, Michael Jackson's album Thriller hit #1 on the charts and spent 37 weeks on top. In 1993, a truck bomb built by Islamic extremists exploded in a parking garage beneath the World Trade Center. 6 people were killed in the blast and another 1,000 were injured. However, the North Tower failed to topple. It remained there until the September 11th attacks 8 years later. And in 1998, a jury in Texas rejected a lawsuit brought by Texas cattlemen against talk show host Oprah Winfrey. They had blamed her for a fall in prices after a segment on food safety that included a discussion about mad cow disease.
All right, for birthdays today, they include singer Michael Bolton, who is 73 today. Actress Teresa Palmer is 40. And this is also the birthday of the Man in Black. Johnny Cash was born in Arkansas on this date back in 1932, and he lived until 2003. Happy birthday to you also if your birthday is today. And you got to learn who Michael Bolton is today.
I did. I got a whole lesson, listened to some of his music, and he's really good.
Well, we do that for each other. I know some of
do.
the older music, you know some of the newer stuff. It kind of balances things out.
It does.
Yeah.
Now we'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment. 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. A small craft advisory is posted until 7 p.m. this evening along the coast, as we will be watching for active surf throughout the region today, courtesy of some gusty winds. In the meantime, a little bit of snow developing this morning in some areas that will be tapering off as we do become partly cloudy today. As we do zoom things out, there's that little bit of energy right there, a bigger system to the south that will be leaving us alone, and we will be on the dry side for us today. Here's Futurecast. Again, this will all be getting out of here, and again, we're looking nice today, and even later on tonight, not looking too bad either. The clouds really getting out of here, and even for tomorrow, again, not looking too bad, just some clouds, and that's about it. Some gusty winds today reaching up to about 20 miles per hour. The winds backing off a bit overnight, and even for tomorrow, not looking too bad. The hourly forecast moving forward, here we go. A partly cloudy sky, temperature is in the 30s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. A library in Unity is launching something that provides its people with more than just a good book.
Our Doug Banks with the story.
At the Unity Public Library, there's things you can check out that can't be found within the pages of one of its approximately 12,000 books, like an iron, a ukulele, or snowshoes. It's called a library of things.
Many libraries are doing it.
It works just like any book off the shelf.
We put a barcode on the thing, librarian checks it out, it goes out the door, we know exactly where it is. If it's overdue, we send you a little email. You can search for those things in the catalog that's at our website.
With around 30 items, Unity's Library of Things is currently in its
very beginning stages.
But a newly built storage shed will be put out back in May, which will hopefully change things.
It's at that time when we'll start really gathering by donation and purchase.
By then, they hope to have around 500 items, ranging from can openers to walkie-talkies and more essential things.
Power outage is certainly a reality here, and we've seen other libraries of things that really cater to that in more disaster-prone areas.
When Unity College closed its campus during the pandemic, it took with it the only library in town. But when Unity Public Library opened 2 years later, it suddenly became a bookworms hub for around 6,000 people across 6 towns. Now they're looking to provide more than just a good read.
We're not a wealthy area with a huge tax base. Giving people something that they can use and borrow instead of having to buy seems like a very valuable service to our area. We're all about figuring out how can the library be the most useful to our people.
In Unity, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Boy, what a great idea for people.
It really is. Yeah, people can, like the snowshoes, people can bring
Right.
them out, go use them, bring them back, and then other people can continue that.
Seems like they could keep adding to that collection too.
Absolutely. Now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood.
Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
We must find the owner of this glove.
You sound as if you have been made a new man.
The second half of Bridgerton Season 4 just arrived on Netflix, and fans of the Bridgerton book series are anticipating one very steamy scene between the characters of Benedict and Sophie. But Luke Thompson, who plays Benedict, tells ABC News Radio there wasn't any pressure.
Bridgerton is absolutely a show that wants to meet the fans where they are, but is also a show that's trying to surprise people as well and bring people where they don't expect.
I feel like something's coming. I think we all know what's coming.
Is there trouble in Salt Lake City? A new trailer for Hulu's Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 4 shows the ladies struggling with the demands of their newfound stardom. The hit reality series returns March 12th on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
Do you think we're a good team?
Of course. Another box office milestone for Zootopia 2. The Disney animated film is now officially the highest grossing domestic movie release of 2025, taking in over $424 million. Disney is the parent company of ABC News. And Grammy-winning singer Michael Bolton is turning 73 today. That's what's happening in Hollywood. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News.
Look who we have.
Look at this little cutie.
A cute little kitty named Butterball.
Still to come here this morning, Max Stern with sports.
You're so beautiful.
And we will meet her.
Don't go away. Girl.
Find your perfect getaway game plan at Quirk Hyundai in Bangor. Kona handles with precision on the road. Lease for only $296 per month. Or go for the shutout on interest with 0% financing on Tucson. It's your Hyundai. Find it at Quirk.
Hi. Hi. Chocolate fundraiser.
With the Chase mobile app, things move a little more smoothly. Deposit checks easily and send money quickly. That's convenience from Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
John Brown first opened his own appliance store in Ellsworth in 1976. With his gift of storytelling, a strong work ethic, and a philosophy of putting others first, John and his wife and children saw the business prosper and grow. Today's third and fourth generation of family and their entire team continue to follow the example set by their grandparents and parents. Brown Appliance and Mattress, High Street, Ellsworth, a family tradition of quality, value, and customer service that always puts you first.
Score big during Truck Month at Quirk Ram. Ram Bighorn is a winter powerhouse, leased for $439 a month. Or get elite performance with Jeep Grand Cherokee, leased for $379 a month. It's your Ram, it's your Jeep. Find it at Quirk in Bangor and Belfast.
Last season, IndyCar champ Alex Palou rewrote the history books. So what's next?
Welcome back in, everyone. The Hampden Academy girls basketball team has fought their way back to the state title game. I caught up with the Broncos to talk about their postseason run thus far.
Ask any athlete at any level about the following days and months after a title game loss, and more than likely, they'll tell you it lingers for a very long time. For the Hampden Academy girls basketball team, they know the feeling all too well.
We remembered how it felt last year, motivated us even more to work towards it every single day because we knew we had a common goal in mind of getting back to this game and winning it.
We wanted it more, and I feel like last year we were just happy that we got there, and this year we knew we could get there. We just needed to work harder than we did last time.
The Broncos fell in last year's Class A state title game to Mount Ararat. The two teams both played in the North Bracket in 2026. And the Broncos avenged their loss with a thrilling victory in the regional title game.
It just felt so good because of how we lost them in the state game last year.
Our defense collectively was just off the charts. You don't see that in Class A, that low of scoring game.
I think that game was very special too because we worked together as a team. We were getting the right shots, and just being able to share the ball and know that you can't stop one person on this team because everybody can do what their role is.
Riding high off the revenge tour, only one team stands in the way of the Broncos and a Class A state title, the Chevrolet Stags. Head coach Nick Winchester knows what the matchup entails, but is confident his girls are prepared.
It wasn't that long ago we were in AA. We got the experience of playing them, understanding their style, how they want to play. The reality is that I think what we learned from Camden Hills and Mount Ararat are applicable to this game.
A win this Saturday would mean so much not only to the players, but to the community as a whole.
I think the celebration of a gold ball or a state championship would be shared amongst all of the members of the program over the last years. We've had a lot of people that have helped us build it to this point, be part of this whole thing, and so I think it would be great for the community.
Hampden will face Chevrolet on Saturday at 6 p.m. In Bangor, Max Sturm, ABC 7 and Fox 22 Sports.
That should be a fantastic title game on Saturday. Now, the Maine men's hockey team came up big with a result this past weekend during their regular season series at Alfond Arena. The Black Bears swept the Merrimack Warriors, scoring 5 goals in each game to secure a 6-point weekend. Maine now sits at 6th in the Hockey East standings, just 2 points behind Northeastern and UMass, who are tied for 4th. The Black Bears will take on those Northeastern Huskies on Friday in Portland and then Saturday in Lowell, due to the current construction being done to the Northeastern's arena. And the team understands how important it is to come away with points from this series.
Obviously, it's down the stretch. Obviously, 3 games left is playoffs from here on out, and I think we control our destiny. Honestly, the standings are so tight right now, and any points can go either way, and you can drop, you could go up. So obviously, it's a big weekend for us ahead, and just keep looking to build on our game and build. The last 2 weekends, I thought we really been playing our way, and obviously last weekend got the results we wanted.
We stay in the Alphon now, where the Maine women hosted Merrimack for a Hockey East tournament battle. Number 10 Merrimack paying the 7-seeded Black Bears a visit. We'll go ahead and pick this one up in a second. Maine up 2-0, looking to add on. Puck is fired at the net, and Lily Fetch is there in front of the crease to tip it in as Maine takes a 3-0 lead. Other end now, Merrimack on the power play, looking to claw back. The Warriors end up getting a clean look from the point. The save is made, but the loose puck is quickly scooped up by the Black Bears, and they are heading the other way. It's Kendall Sundby and Gracie Hansen on the 2-on-1. Sundby feeds Hansen, who fires it, but the save is made. But later in the second, Black Bears circling it around, puck is fired, and Reagan Worm is there to clean it up and make it 4-0 Maine. That score would stand, and Maine moves on to the next round. We head to Boston now, where the newly minted gold medalist Jeremy Swayman and Charlie McAvoy return to the team after playing for Team USA in the Olympics. The team attended the State of the Union on Tuesday night after partying in Miami on Monday night. Swayman may have ridden the bench outside of one game in this qualifying round, but he still enjoyed the experience and being a part of the team who won their first gold medal since 1980 in the Miracle on Ice. He talked about the feeling of winning gold.
It's incredible. It's starting to sink in now, the reaction that we've gotten from people in the U.S. the second we landed down, and just the outreach of family, a childhood dream come true, and the group that we did it with especially. The way we did it, it's an unbelievable feeling, an incredible feeling that we'll cherish forever.
That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
When lives are on the line, they don't hesitate to run towards danger. Unfortunately, the same gear that protects them from deadly flames can be hazardous to their health. Senator Susan Collins to the rescue. Susan helped introduce legislation that protects firefighters and first responders from cancer-causing forever chemicals in their equipment. Because their job is dangerous enough. Call Senator Collins and thank her for protecting Maine's first responders.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
The University of Maine Finish Strong Adult Degree Completion Program proudly congratulates the Machias boys basketball team on heading to the state tournament. Go Bulldogs! Finish strong!
After high school, I went to college in upstate New York, but then got involved with life and family. When I first thought about going back to school, it seemed really intimidating. One of the great things about an online program is that you can combine studying as part of your day. The flexibility is really helpful.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, it's time to meet our Pet of the Week, Gabby, returning from the Bangor Humane Society today. Good to see you, Gab.
Good to see you.
And you brought a beautiful little kitty, and her tail won't stop wagging.
She's really stressed out. This is Butterball. She is quite the Butterball. She is a really large cat.
Yeah.
She is only about a year old, so she should definitely be put on a diet. She just got spayed yesterday, so her belly's a little bit sore. But she's a little bit overweight, so she could use some help losing it. She's a really great girl. She spent the last 2 months in foster care with one of our really great long-term foster providers. She had a couple of kittens, and they've already found their homes, and now it's her turn.
Oh, that's nice.
She loves to sit on people's laps. She's really affectionate. She's really chatty, believe it or not. She followed our foster around her house, just talked to her all day long. So she's really playful. She still has a lot of that kitten energy, and she's going to be a really great fit for some.
It looks
family.
like after a while too, she likes to be held.
Definitely.
You know, she was when she first came in, it was a little bit, but she settled right in too.
Definitely. Just takes some time, but she's so soft, so friendly. She loves catnip and scratchers and toys. She's really a great cat.
And she's ready to go right now?
Ready to go right now.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah. How you touched on it. How could she looks perfect to me? How can you tell she's a little overweight? Because my cats, I gotta say, they're getting a little chunky too, and I'm not so sure.
The vets have their own scale. They kind of look at their overall body size, and age pairs into that as well. So she's a little. We spayed her, so she's a little tender, and I can't move her around too much. But she's got a lot going on down there.
Right.
She's kind of shaped like the turkey and everything. So
I know the feeling, Butterball.
Butterball. It's like the perfect name.
It is. It really is.
Aw, cute little
She's
kitty.
a good girl.
So
does she do well with other pets, or do you know?
I'm not too sure. She will likely do okay in a home. If you do slow introductions, make sure there's plenty of space for all of the animals in the house. Even introducing to kids, you should always do proper introductions. Make sure the kids know not to pull her tail and not to pull her fur. Make sure you're respecting her body language. If she's running away from you, she doesn't want to be near you. And you should respect that. So
that's part of the learning process, whether it's a dog or cat or anything. You get to learn their personalities.
Exactly. And that's part of the fun of it. You
Yeah.
don't know what
Yeah,
you're
they're all
getting.
different.
So
And boy, what love they bring to you, though. I don't know what I'd do without my little cats. You know, pretty neat. Anything else going on? Are you guys full?
We're about to start getting full. It's about to be kitten season. Absolutely.
Right.
So I'm going to be planning a kitten shower soon for our kittens in foster care. That should be hitting social media in about a month or so.
Oh, good.
So we'll be collecting donations for kittens, bottle kitten formula, kitten food, toys, a whole bunch of good stuff. So that list will be on our social media platforms. And we're also looking for large breed dog fosters still. So if you're looking to foster some bigger dogs, then hit us up, give us an email.
I saw you had some puppies in foster care too. I'm not sure if you still have those or not.
They made it back to the shelter and went up a couple weeks ago.
So they're gone.
I knew
they're long gone.
They're gonna go quick.
They're long gone.
Yeah.
Puppies fly out of the building. Same with kittens. So if you're looking for a kitten or a puppy, spring is the season, and we're right there. So
I don't know how you do it, Gabby. I mean, every animal I'd want to take home.
It's a trap.
I mean, look at this one. She just loves
hugging
you.
my arm. She's
That is
a
adorable.
That's very cute.
It's definitely a trap.
Her tail's like a little feather duster too.
Well, if you have been looking for a new kitty or something, you ought to stop by the Bangor Humane Society. If you're not in this area, maybe stop by your own local shelter, because there's plenty of animals out there that need a good home.
Yes.
This one in particular, boy, she's going to make someone a great cat.
She's really awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, little
It's
baby.
a good one.
Well, Gabby, thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it. We're going to send it back over to Devin for a final look at our weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Already, that small craft advisory is posted until 7 p.m. this evening along the coast, as we're watching for some active surf along the coast, and that surf is starting to pick up, just 3 to 4 foot wave heights. There it is right there. And farther off towards the north and east, you can see by the contours, it is picking up, and farther out towards sea, 6, 7, even up to 9 feet being observed right now in those areas. Meanwhile, on land, just a little bit of snow being observed this morning, tracking from the southwest and going toward the north and east. This will be getting out of here, and we'll have a mixture of clouds and sunshine in our backyard as we do move forward. Today, as we do zoom things out, there's that little bit of energy right there. Bigger system to the south. This will be leaving us alone, and we will be looking nice as we do move forward over the next few days, counting today. But then as we do move forward in time, especially as we head towards Saturday afternoon, a mixture of rain and snow on the way. Accumulations very minimal, if anything at best, but just something to note as we do move forward. Isobars, will be stacked as well, so you may notice that as we do move forward. So otherwise for today, again, not looking too bad. We'll be in the middle 30s under a partly cloudy sky. It will be breezy as well, with that west wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Overnight, okay, 3 degrees under a mostly clear sky. The winds will be backing off. They will be out of the northwest at about 5 miles per hour. And then we move ahead towards your Friday. Not too bad. Lower 30s under a partly cloudy sky. The winds not too bad either. They will be out of the southwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Let's check out that extended forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Rain and snow chances for your Saturday, with highs in the low 40s and then upper 20s for your Sunday, with a chance for snow showers. Mostly sunny for your Monday, with highs in the low 20s.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
When Maine winter bites, nothing matters more than keeping your family warm. The solution is simple: a high-efficiency heat pump installed by Valley Home Services. It's the quiet, reliable warmth you need all season long. At Valley Home, we're your elite Fujitsu dealer, ensuring expert installation that delivers consistent comfort and maximizes your energy savings. And we make it easy to switch to efficiency heating and qualify for those valuable Efficiency Maine rebates. Stay perfectly warm without the high cost. For a warm, worry-free winter, trust the local experts. Valley Home Services. Winter warmth is waiting. Call us today.
Come in and visit AMHG Works, Bangor's #1 gift shop, located at 36 Springer Drive and the Rennie's Plaza. We have special gifts for you, your furry companion, and that special someone you are in need of a gift for. It's worth a trip in for unique American-made gifts. Here at AMHG Works, everything is American-made, and we are open 7 days a week for your convenience. American-made home goods. We look forward to seeing you.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
You had me a trash panda. That was gangster.
It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
It was a scary experience for a pair of drivers in Omaha, Nebraska. Take a look at this. They had just pulled up to a traffic light this week when the ground suddenly gave way beneath their vehicles. Officials say a Tuesday sinkhole was likely caused by leaking water from pipes beneath the roadway. A camera at the University of Nebraska captured the event. Both drivers managed to climb free and no injuries are reported. That area is now closed to traffic as crews work to repair the damage there.
That would be so scary.
Yeah, it would.
That is terrifying. And a popular fruit is now in season. Strawberries are beginning to ripen at a local farm in Santa Maria, California. While berries now grow nearly year-round in many parts of the country, this is when the fruit really kicks into high gear. Farmers say they are pretty optimistic about the season and tell us why now it is the best time to buy. Strawberries should remain in season for about 6 months through the early summertime.
We'll still have to wait another 2 months or so until they're ripe here in Maine.
Yes.
Well, there was a disruption on the New York State Thruway Monday morning, not the typical one either, at least for drivers in the Buffalo area. That's because a couple of cows made their way onto the Thruway. The Thruway Authority encouraged people to seek alternative routes. While those cows were wrangled up, the cows were eventually corralled and the scene was cleared and reopened to traffic.
That is too funny. They're just standing there.
Just went out for a little stroll.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning. But as always, we thank you for joining us.
Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, she competed on American Idol, where the public voted her off without mercy. And let me just say, I've never been more proud of you, America. It's Jackie Toad. And joining Jackie are concert buddies